Alright, I was just messing around with some TikTok stuff. TikTok stuff. Hmm. That's right. Do I care? A little bit. And last bit. How does it look on the Twitch side of things? That does look better. Makeup undeniably just looks nice. Bringing people to ban out the gate. I don't know who you are, but you can go. I want to try. Alright. Let's see if we can do this. Also, I just realized I never actually found that, what am I trying to say? The director's cut video.
Do not approach the system.
The glow continues to fascinate me. Yeah. At least all my stuff I was working with is here. Let's get it this way.
Just a trickster playing with my ears. Even miles underwater, he still sees everything.
Is there a...
Find you, sinner, and
A new thought. A new thought altogether. Glad I did that. Director's commentary. I did not find that before. Alright, we gotta find that. So... where am I in? Okay, locations. Well, I fucked up the Rapture Control Tower 1. What? Apollo Square. Found it.
Iconic and haunting, the Big Daddy and Little Sisters of Bioshock immediately captivated the public's imagination.
Oh, yeah,
Big
they
Daddy
did.
encounters defined the Bioshock experience, creating new mechanics and techniques that had not been seen before in gaming.
Rapture's denizens.
So Big Daddy, Little Sister, such an iconic moment or series of moments in this game. I'm fascinated about how that got layered in. We talked a lot about the setting and the tone. That is still, to me, a mechanic that I remember was very unique about, choosing to engage the Big Daddy and being a fight that is going to be very aggressive and different than a traditional boss fight. I know you had an idea, Ken, of sort of 3 different types of AIs interacting in the same world.
Yeah, we were sort of like I was trying to think of like AIs you hadn't seen before, and this is still pretty early. Like 10 years ago, a lot's changed in 10 years. So like AIs were still pretty much enemies who saw you and came after you.
Zigzag, shoot.
Yep, and then that was really the focus: is how you make them, use AI better at you. So I started thinking about, are there more primal behaviors to think about? And I was watching a nature show one day. These typical nature shows, and it's like observe the mother tiger taking care of her young, one of those kind of things. And I realized that we don't even need a narrator on those shows. We understand certain behaviors just by looking at them. They're very primal, like somebody protecting their young, the predator-prey behavior. Those things were you don't need dialogue for that. And AIs at that point, we didn't have the ability to do a lot of sort of, smart AI. Yeah. So I said, what if their behaviors are just very primal, and we can model those behaviors? So aggro rules is something we knew we can model, right? How does an AI aggro on you? What are the rules for that? Could they make a aggression display rather than just attack? And can another character appear afraid and hide behind the skirts of another character? And we started talking about these things, and the Big Daddy became very quickly, the actual form of the Big Daddy became very quickly as sort of this protector creature. The Little Sister took a lot longer, ironically, even though it's a much simpler notion in a lot of ways. The initial idea came out of sort of watching a nature show and trying to work within our constraints of we couldn't make super complex AIs.
Because when we first got the system up and running, this is before the play test, we weren't really thinking about player facing these things. And we had this entire system set up that completely simulated what would happen. And you'd play through the vertical slice and you walk into a room and everybody's dead because the system would work perfectly. You weren't there to see the fight, yeah.
And we track they weren't called Little Sisters at the time, but we tracked how much they were harvesting, and it was all like a Command and Conquer level simulation.
Yeah.
And players didn't care or notice.
Yep.
And so we just abandoned all that stuff.
Yeah, so that took us a step towards, how do we present this to the player, then how do we make the gatherers, which we called them at the time before Little Sister design came on, like how do we make them empathetic towards the player? How do we make the player want to engage with that? Because at the time they were just slugs.
Right.
So which is a
That's
horrible
right,
design.
Originally were slugs, right?
Yeah.
Not actually.
Which is a horrible design in so many ways because you don't care about slugs, and they're also on the ground, so you don't see them. They're not like an idol, and they're dark. So
But you still have the trailer had like the same, or not the trailer, the demo, or prototype we did. So it had the Big Daddy sort of like interacting with the little
Yeah.
slug.
How,
And
slugs crawl around the Big Daddy? Or what?
no,
No,
it's this awful
That's a
little
level of
mesh.
sophistication, yeah.
It's like a little beetle, sort of.
Yeah,
It was terrible.
Yeah.
That would have been
Yeah.
interesting to go
Protect the
to
Beatles.
The Beatles?
see them go with that
And
route.
the Big
It's
Daddies
so
had two
unim-
drills.
It's-
They didn't have a hand, so there's no way they could
Right.
like.
It's just fascinating me because like the little sister, it's like there's such humanity in it, which you really connect with.
You
Which
It's like a
seems
little-
like
You
a
would think
smart
that would
thing
be
to go
the
straight
obvious
to.
thing, yeah.
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 We're not very smart.
The idea of sort of
Bullshit.
choosing to engage the Big Daddy. I mean, when I was first time I played the game, I mean that was always profound. It makes you sort of sit there and like, am I ready for this? And your choice to sort of like, you know, the kind of opposite of stealth, like when you want to be discovered. Was that always the mechanic with the Big Daddy?
Yeah, that was,
Yeah.
The idea was that they would have very particular rules about engaging with you that were entirely dependent on how you threat level towards, not them, towards their creature they were protecting.
Yeah. That was set, and then as you worked through it, I'm sure there were conversations about how difficult do we make these fights and sort of the balancing of that, and even, you know, with the game, you don't start off with a Big Daddy fight. It's a little ways into the game until you actually get to that. So that was sort of debated.
You actually encounter the notion of Big Daddy and Little Sister many times before you actually are freed into an arena where you can actually fight them. You
Yeah.
see them
Sneaking out, yeah, pipes.
You see them. You see them walking down a hall. You see the first time you see Little Sister, she's harvesting, and then you see the Big Daddy come and protect her. And we realized it was 4 or 5 sequences we had to do to set the stage for these characters. And look, we were hoping they'd be iconic and people would respond to the way they did, because we certainly spent energy on them with the expectation that they'd have an impact that we really just as easily could have turned out that nobody
I think
cared.
the actual very first time, and not a lot of people see it, there's a little sister in the vent in Kashmir restaurant. That if you're looking in the right direction at the right time, you'll see her looking at you, and then she'll
It's just a
disappear.
better
I've
eye.
seen that.
Yeah.
No, it's the actual match.
Is it the match?
Seen
It's
that.
easier to do that
Right.
than Pennywise, but yeah.
Thank you.
The path of the righteous is not always easy.
The thing as you play through the game, you know, I think the moments with those sort of encounters certainly stand out to the player. For you guys, as you were developing it, was there a debate about how often to sort of have those encounters? Like, you know, like how many Big Daddies would there be? How would that play out? I mean, was that something that sort of changed as you?
No, I think we decided there would be 3. I think it was 3 per
Okay.
level.
So 3 and 2 in smaller levels. We did have a third Big Daddy that was mostly finished, but we couldn't make it fun. Like that last 10% of an AI is always like, where's the fun? Like, how do you really make
They
it
put it into.
functionality?
I think they put it into Bioshock 2, didn't they?
They might have, yeah.
They might have. I don't know.
But you know, it was fully rigged, fully animated, but we just didn't have the time we needed to really polish it. So
Right.
we ended up shipping with the bouncer and Rosie.
Hunting the Big Daddy, that demo was a huge moment, I think, in the game's kind of marketing campaign. And that really, I think, you know, sold the tension of that battle. When you showed that, did the entire game feel like that, or was that really more of just like a vertical slice of what you wanted the game to feel like?
That at that point was more what we wanted to feel like, because the Big Daddy was still had a lot of problems at that point. But we were confident we could do that. Like, we wanted to make sure that was an experience we could deliver on. And there weren't. It was like it functioned, but it would do really weird things. Like, it had this tendency at the time to, if you did the wrong thing, that it would turn into basically a super ball and start like a tiny little super ball.
What?
The Big Daddy would whoop, turn to a super ball and start bouncing or off the ceiling and walls like a million miles an hour. I don't, do you remember why? it did
What?
that, or what was
I'm
going
sure
on?
it was some physics bug
Advanced
that we were,
move.
yeah.
And so that actually happened sometimes we were doing the demo, and Joe Falstick, who was the guy running the demo with me in Barcelona, was very good at making sure that he turned away from
Right.
the Big Daddy. Like, oh yeah, I guess we killed the Big Daddy, he must be dying over there. But so all things were functional, but they weren't really, they didn't have all their bells and whistles on yet. It was really good for us because it sort of gave us some confidence that people would respond to just the notion of, you know, watching Little Sister and biding your time and choosing your moment.
Well, it gave us confidence, but also gave us a tool that the development team as a whole could gather around and say, we want to make it like this. Like, yes, a lot of elements in that demo were scripted, but they provided a framework for us to go back and how do we make that so it's not scripted? How do we make this robust enough so that the player can actually use these systems?
Yep.
So it was something that we could point to and say, you know, all right, how are we going to do this? Like, let's break it down and let's figure it out.
And that was like in September, and actually the game was done in February, March, so we weren't that far off.
Yeah.
We were a lot went into it in those final months, but it was a big confidence boost for us because we thought it was the most important thing about the game, besides the world, was this sort of big daddy little sister concept. And if people didn't care about it, it would have been a problem for us because we spent a lot of time on it.
Love to see it. Next. Point Prometheus.
Alright. You looking to slug it out? I'm game. But I got all the atom in the city, pal. And I ain't shy about using it. Now, I'm Jake to take her out for a spin.
What is this you wait for? Go and get this idiot!
We ain't rushing this time.
I don't even want to see him walk. There's a fish tank.
Shine! You let him get away. Oh, I need a moment for thinking. But of course. This will be no problem. Find a big daddy and search his body. I would suggest you to be finding a dead one. You see the suit's control system? So good, get it. That is step one of turning you into one of those disgusting big daddies. The only way to get through that door Fontaine went through is to have a little one open it for you. They will only trust you if you look like, sound like, and even smell like one of those big stinking brutes.
The things we do for love.
This is not like putting on aftershave. You will need 3 industrial applications of this stuff, and then the little ones will be thrown to you like a bee to honey. You will have to gather 3 pheromones here, so that you smell disgusting. Just like a big daddy.
Kinda better.
Fuck! Didn't even...
Where?
Where do you think you're going? You need to become a big daddy before you are able to draw out the little ones.
3 things. Free markets, free will,
You push me too far, kid. When you're cold and stiff, I'm gonna go over to Mother Goose's house, and I'm gonna take it apart, piece by piece, and brat by brat. Consider it your legacy.
Fuck it, we're done with this game.
What is the greatest lie ever created?
The parasite needs 3 things. Free
Don't care. Don't need everything. Do not need everything. Fucking come back. Why? I've done that already. Alright. On fire.
You saved me.
A million ants are carrying away the Big Daddy. like I've ever seen that ghost.
I can only be glad I am nowhere near you and that awful stink. Why the little ones are drawn to the smell of those pheromones is beyond anything I can understand.
Kill, excuse me, to harvest or not to harvest, the moral dilemma that follows you throughout the Bioshock experience and defines the fate of the player. This
Easy,
choice
never
lays
harvest.
at the center of your Bioshock story and has repercussions that can be felt in nearly every facet of the gameplay.
Questions of morality.
Part of Bioshock's lasting legacy, of course, are the Little Sisters and this moral choice that presented itself to the player. Everyone became water cooler conversation about, like, well, did you save them? Did you harvest them? That concept, Ken, was that something that came about early in development, or that binary choice? When did that come into the game?
I don't remember when. I mean, we had the concept of them being protected, but I can't remember when you
Yeah, it
actually
certainly
chose.
wasn't. When there were slugs, it was not meaningful. I think there was.
Do you salt it? Do you
Well,
not salt it?
Yeah, there were resources that you could get, but there was no choice there, right? It was the choice was, do I want to fight the Big Daddy or not?
Yeah.
I think once we got into the realm of they have to be empathetic, the player has to have some feeling towards them, which you're not going to get from slugs.
Right.
Then we start seeing that opportunity there of, like, okay, nobody's going to want to do harm to these girls, or do they? Like, and do we allow them to? It was we weren't comfortable with it at first when it first came up that we could.
I think it was important that it was a way to reflect the sort of larger economic questions of a world like Rapture, where, like, where the economy drives everything. Are there any limits to economic decision making versus moral decision making? Because that's sort of what the Randian notion is that it's not the role that you don't sort of legislate morality. Let's try to take that to an extreme and see where that ends up. And Little Sisters sort of became that. In this world, they became a commodity. And the question we have for the players, are you willing, they're a commodity to you as well, potentially. Are you willing to participate in the commodification? There was, I think, a fair amount of nervousness internally at the publisher about it for a little while, but pretty quickly they were able to sort of say, look, we trust you guys, and go, do this. And I only had a few, the press, and this sort of happens over and over again. The games press worried a ton about it and, like, wring their hands about it. They ever recognized it was a upsetting topic, but that it was done to a larger purpose. That it wasn't just sort of like, hey, this is the game where you kill children. And
Whatever, and that was a sensitivity. I know that, like, you guys wanted to call them little sisters, not little girls, and it was and it wasn't, it wasn't killing them, it was harvesting them. And I mean, you did some things probably on purpose, right? To sort of explain that this, you weren't doing anything vicious to them, right?
Well, I mean, you do sort of, they do sort of disappear out of you, and a big slug out of their belly, comes up that you. We didn't want that to be graphic. We wanted to be very clear that you were killing.
Yeah.
But it was not intended to be a prurient in terms of, hey, this is a simulation of pulling a sea slug out of a little girl's belly. But we wanted you to understand that you were making a very diabolical moral economic pact there. And we think that came across, and I think it came across well enough. And I think the test of how well it came across is, I think most people didn't really thought of it as am I willing to do this thing or not?
Right.
And I think people would tell us stories how like their girlfriend saw them harvesting, and then they literally slept on the couch that night.
Right.
And that's an interesting. That was interesting how people connected to a 3D mesh that's really no different than any other 3D mesh in the world. Like this little sister, she's not a person. She's a 3D asset, a virtual 3D asset, right? That has a voice actor connected to it, an adult woman, and nobody was actually getting harmed, but people still emotionally connected to them and made an emotional connection.
And also, I think when you're playing, you don't really know what the impact of that choice is.
Yes.
And that's sort of the curiosity of like, you're a gamer, so it's like, am I going to game the system? Which one should I pick? How does this impact things as you go through the game? It's never really fully clear what that choice is going to lead to, right? And the ambiguousness of that was something you wanted to sort of create mystery around throughout the game?
Yeah, we went back and forth a lot about what the rewards for harvesting versus saving would be, and actually I think we should have really pushed further that the rewards for saving were should have been much more meager than the rewards for harvesting, just to really sort of push you up against the wall and say, are you going to stick by your moral guns here? Because you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's usually the way life is, right?
Yeah.
It's always harder to take a moral path than it is to take an amoral path. But there's incentives to take amoral paths because it's the easier path.
As you play through the game, eventually you get to the ending, and as we know now, there were sort of two endings that were affected by that choice. And that was something at the time, I know you said publicly that you weren't in favor of sort of having two endings. Was that in part because, the game is about not having choice, or did you think that, the two endings were, I don't know, like, I'm interested for narratively, like, why you didn't want to go that path?
It seemed forced, given that the game really sort of almost made a joke, a meta commentary joke about the lack of agency in games, the lack of meaning of those choices, given that you have these two endings. I guess you could make an argument that, well, you were given choice at the, once Ryan's dead, that's really what it's about. But I think we also didn't really have enough time to execute on those super well. I was pretty happy with how the happier one came out, with the sort of little sister focus, but it's a much more subtle story than I would have time to tell about sort of your slow descent into, moral chaos and dissolute living and all the things that sort of come along with a life that is sort of separate from a moral structure. It's a long story.
And that's what, you were just switching a cutscene. It wasn't like you were doing sort of a whole other level that was different or something. So the choice was
there's two cutscenes with very tight time and
or just start a nuclear war.
Yes, and that's not
you're a nice guy, or you start a nuclear war.
And because we had so many problems on our plate, that was something I had to sort of do in the spare time. So I was pretty happy with one, but not very happy with the other.
I know you had said publicly before that there was another sort of more ambiguous ending that you had originally planned, or what would you have done?
There was a notion of an ambiguous ending. If I just wrote one, I would have found a way that would just talk about the moral ambiguity of the world rather than the sort of, positive or negative, because it is such a look. I think we really tried with Bioshock not to sort of make a game about good and evil. It is really about circumstances and what circumstances lead people to, and how they delude themselves with ideology to do things that they would think are evil, but it's okay because it's for the good cause. And that's what I probably would have. If I just had one to write, I'd probably focus more on that. How difficult it is to sort of align when you start being driven by ideology rather than being in the moment and thinking about the impact of what you're doing.
Sean, you talked to gamers, I'm sure, over the years. Did you ever get a sense of how many people harvested versus saved, or was there any sort of data? I mean, this is before the days where you get telemetry and data on like what people picked and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, anecdotally, it seems like more people saving little sisters. Although, I have a few friends that were. I just harvested every single one. I wanted to see what happened. So, I mean, I don't know if that was more, the game developer and them trying to see, what would happen, but certainly for the most part, I think most people, which I guess is a good thing. It means that maybe people are good at heart. They kind of feel bad. They want they want to save the little sisters. So, yeah, I'll say it. The needle sways towards the green there.
Time for bed-bye, Mr. B. Hurry, hurry, Mr. Bubbles.
Welcome to the Circus of Value.
I know why it has to be children, but why just girls? This I cannot determine why, but I know it is so. Fontaine says, one less bathroom to build in the orphanage. It is amazing to watch the effect of Atom on their small bodies. Their own cells replaced by the new stems the instant they are damaged. These children are practically invulnerable. It is a shame you could not do the same thing to an adult. There would be quite a market for a man you could not kill. A good start. Now you need only to find the bodysuit and the voice box from the other labs, and you will be a proper brute. Get moving.
You're playing a bad hand, kid. You're just too spliced to smell it. Roll on back to Mother Goose now, or everything's gonna go busto.
Something about this floor is just very slidey, I guess. just in time. A smart splicer is a happy splicer. Mine. Do I dare finally upgrade? Also, this is really good. Save up, though. Failsafe armor escorts. Decontamination.
After Ryan picks this place, here is where they built their filthy golems and Frankenstein. Find the pieces of his suit. Guide them.
Again, this floor is so slidey. Going. Hate to do this. Why are the physics in this room so broken? You know what? Whatever. Such is life. What in the hell is happening here? There you are.
Come on! I just want to talk to somebody! I'm not a bad person!
It's happening again. Why is it happening? You okay?
Kick your ass!
All right.
You want more?
Okay, come on. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Whatcha? Hey. Trying to have fun with this shit, but damn. I like to see them fly. Is that so wrong?
Oh, a terrible thing. Japanese kill every man in my city.
getting the most out of that one. Still hold on to it though. Oh.
Could I have made mistakes? One does not build cities if one is guided by doubt. But can one govern in absolute certainty? I know that my beliefs have elevated me just as I know that the things I have rejected would have destroyed me. But the city, it's collapsing before my eyes. Have I become so convinced by my own beliefs that I have stopped seeing the truth? Perhaps. But Atlas is out there, and he aims to destroy me and to destroy my city. To question is to surrender. I will not question.
Yeah. That's where you fail. That's where you fucking fail, Ryan. Are you fucking kidding me? Glad we went this route. That was more painful for you. Let's go again. Having fun with you.
Big Daddy make a terrible stink. Very smelly. Maybe something can be done. But the little sisters seem to like order. Now we have to find the recruits. You become Big Daddy, it's a one-way street. But Ryan says don't worry. Recruits will be no problem. That Ryan. He's a good guy.
He's a fucking sociopath like me. He's a good guy.
The boots. I was sure the boots would be here. Oh, shit.
Shame things turned out this way, kid. You and me could have run the table in this place. Now there's nothing left for you but a
Hurry, Mr. B. Get up, Mr. Bubbles. No! 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 No!
One more to go.
Thank you. Thank you.
a short break here. Short break. Do some TikTok side banning. Yeah, that could be productive. Also gives me a chance to solve this problem. This is not the problem. But I want to hang it up. I want it hanging up. How I do that? No idea. But I fucking love this. Courtesy of Mandy. All right. Stop and smoke for a minute. Had a talk with my ex today. We still live together. And every talk is just I gotta tell you, there was nothing more frustrating than multiple times trying to explain to someone your point of view, why you feel the way you do, and every single time failing to do so. At what point is it my fault or their fault? say, there is nothing more frustrating than trying to explain your point of view to the same person multiple times and never having it click with them. And just realizing that you're just going to go the rest of your life and this is just the way it is. Huh. Rain expected to start in the next few hours. Hate rain in winter. I gotta say, there was nothing more frustrating than trying to explain your point of view to the same person multiple times and never having it click with them. And just realizing that you're just gonna go the rest of your life and this is just the way it is. Huh. Rain Okay, we're back. I don't know if this means I got a problem or not, but I definitely get high to forget the shit in my life sometimes. All right, let's clean up the trash. Oh, she was the sweet one that commented today, I think. up again. Back into Rapture. Jumping in. 3, 2, let's go. Alright. One more little sister, a few more components to become a Big Daddy. Let's get to it. I need to hack this thing. I'm gonna try. It should be significantly easier than in previous times. Here. Good to know.
The Big Daddy boots need to be shipped here, not a damn library. What kind of idiot is Ryan hiring nowadays? This kind of bullshit never happened on the Fontaine.
Of course, now that I think about it, there was one that I actually didn't touch there. One more time. Alright, well, hopefully you'll get your shit together. You're still wigging out.
You know, you should be thanking me. I brought you here. I showed you who you are. Nobody never told you nothing but lies till I come along.
Yo.
It is a wounded well. How can I thank you? I send another little one with a token of our appreciation.
Look around you. There's nothing to save. Rapture's a mausoleum, a goddamn cemetery funhouse. And you and the crowd is just ghosts. Just a matter of time till you realize it.
One thing I'm trying to remind myself, a lot of people need to remind themselves, is just because people say things doesn't mean they're true.
Mr. Parasite, don't be a friend of Atlas.
That is good. We will make disgusting Frankenstein out of you yet. There is helmet and pair of boots, and we will be, how you say, in business.
Don't care enough. Oh. How can there not be? Motherfuckers.
Fontaine, scary son of a bitch. But Ryan, cheap son of a bitch. You can no reuse protector suit. Take a man and graft the skin and organs straight into suit. Otherwise, just suit another work. Ryan say Big Daddy too expensive. Ryan can go suck an egg.
Ryan can... Ryan can go suck an egg. So that got me.
Is that...
I don't know what's happening here. God, they cannot get their shit together. They touch anything, they just stick. Makes for a neat play experience, I'll tell you that. Make the way out of here.
I'd turn tail if I were you, kid. Ain't nothing here for you but tears.
Hacker's Delight. Don't care about that at all.
Ah, look at you. You look just the same as those. Oh, what things we have done. What things. Now the boots.
The helmet perspective. Such a neat addition. Oh, got it. That makes me look up. Oh. Yep, there we go.
Are you afraid of me, monster?
I didn't touch
Man.
her.
Ooh. Thank you. Don't think I care enough for that one. But I also don't think I care enough about a health upgrade. bit of a waste there. Oh, really? That's all I can do? Alright. And one more for the fun of it.
Pray for Betty by Mr. B.
Must have been the other little sister that was around.
Look at you. We will make Big Daddy out of you yet, I think. There is only one piece missing. The voice box modification machine in optimized eugenics.
Mother Goose really got her hooks into you. You can knock Ryan all you want, but the old man was bingo on one point of fact. You won't even walk till somebody says go. Where you gonna go? Your life? Your family? They're a fairy tale, kid. No more real than something you read about in the Saturday Evening Post. Poor bastard. A motherless freak. Whipped up in a half-baked science experiment.
Andrew Ryan asks you a simple question. Are you a man or a slave?
Welcome to the Circus of Values.
Here is where you'll be finding the voice box to have sound like one of those Big Daddy's repulsive creatures.
Pardon? I know you're here, and I'm itching for a fight.
I'll admit Fontaine showed some foresight when he built up the plasmid business. But the man really never understood sales. Hiding those little girls beneath a bushel. I've just seen the preliminary design work on the new plasmid machines, and they're exactly what I wanted. Mark my words. Presented properly, those little sisters are marketing gold.
We tricked you, monster.
Look around you, kid. You think two-bit heroics count for a thing in this pit? You're staring down the puke stain of Ryan's busted dreams. You think there's something worth saving down here? Then you deserve to go. Oh, there is no rub.
Where did I get caught? Oh, that thing. Okay.
What?
I think I am. I am gonna stop here. We'll finish this next time. It was rough. Tomorrow should put me in a better mindset.